The New Jersey Devils.
They are absolute sellers.
Good for them.
Not even a question.
Great returns for Andy Green. Blake Coleman, of course.
They got a second round pick. Did we talk about the Andy Green trade?
Yeah.
Did we talk about the Blake Coleman
No,
trade?
yeah, we did.
Did we talk about the... Yeah, we did. Obviously, just in case you weren't listening, Andy Green was traded to the New York Islanders for a second, and David Quenneville, who's a prospect, or he's 21.
Warm body.
Yeah. They traded Blake Coleman to the Lightning for a first and Nolan Foote, who's a forward prospect and is probably going to be really good. They have 3 first-round picks this year.
Wow.
Now, I saw yesterday 3 names on headlines. Number 1, Sammy Vatanen.
Probably going to be moved.
Probably going to be moved. Wayne Simmons. Most likely going to be moved. You know, we know Vancouver was calling, but they have their own issues to deal with. And Kyle Palmieri.
Oh, and by the way, quick thing on Simmons. Pittsburgh's apparently interested too.
Yes.
Palmieri, though.
Palmieri could get you something. And let me bring this up here, if I can find it, about who is it from? I don't know where I put it.
The way hating music.
Here we go. I found it.
Hey.
It's from Frank Cervelli talking about Kyle Palmieri. So the belief is Noah Hanifin was part of a package that the Calgary Flames had put together to try and land Taylor Hall from the New Jersey Devils in November. Speculates they might do a similar offer for Kyle Palmieri.
So
that would be very interesting.
First of all, Ray Shero is terrible. Honestly, how did you not take that deal? By the way, I feel really bad for Noah Hanifin because he's just a really good, I'd say, top 4 defenseman. But because of where he was drafted, everyone's like, oh.
Well, you know he should have been drafted instead of Marner, right?
Defenseman, man. But hey, that's just good for Carolina. Sorry, for the Devils. I forget their new GM's name, or the interim GM. Scott Fitzgerald?
Tom Fitzgerald.
Tom Fitzgerald, sorry. Who's Scott?
I'm not sure.
But he's done a really good job there. And I guess I thought that maybe it was instead Shero that had the idea of not burning it to the ground, but starting to sell off big pieces. But it sounds like it was actually Fitzgerald's. That's maybe the other side of the organization.
I think that's listen, obviously from the Flames' perspective, I think Palmieri would be something they'd want to add. But I guess we'll get to that later. But from the Devils' perspective, what's the one thing? Like, we heard about the Taylor Hall, right? They wanted defensive prospects. And I get Noah Hanifin, I guess, isn't necessarily a prospect.
He's young and has terms, though.
Right. That's the thing. He's still young. I don't know if he's necessarily what people would consider a prospect. But he's an NHL player. 10,000%.
Just a quick thing. I love this about Hanifin. He came right out of his draft year, 79 games played, 81, 79, 80, 62 this year. Underrated thing, stays healthy.
Yeah, man. Listen, and I know I was making a joke about he should have been picked instead of Marner, but like he's a good defenseman.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's had his struggles, obviously in Carolina and then in Calgary a little bit, just because of the team. Like, I don't know
his Carolina coach Bill Peters.
Yeah, but this would be great this is a great pickup for the Devils if they can get him.
Oh yeah,
absolute steal.
Again,
maybe not a steal, but
we'll talk about Calgary later. But that's a team that it sounds like they've been so close to making so many great deals, but just everything has fallen through.
I have a question. Louis Domingue just passed through waivers. Generally can get you something if he can go through waivers. Do you think they get something for Louis Domingue?
Maybe Colorado, because apparently they want goaltending depth. I think Vegas did as well, but is he really that much of an upgrade from Malcolm Subban?
No. How about
a 6th?
But does Carolina call? Like, I know he's not, depending on how long the injuries are for both Mrazek and Reimer, is that potentially someone who calls, say, okay, you know what, we'll give you a 6th round pick for Louis Domingue just to kind of lay us over. We'll have Alex Nedeljkovic and Louis Domingue for a couple weeks until one of Mrazek and Reimer come back. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world.
You know what I remember from when the Leafs got Martin Marincin from the Oilers?
Please tell me.
He wasn't good enough to make the Oilers defense. Louis Domingue was a disastrous goaltender on the Devils.
Yeah, but he was so good on the... Here's my... I look at what's happened with certain goalies is... Look at last year how good Mrazek and McElhinney were last year. Like, they were pretty good.
Yeah.
I can imagine you go to Carolina. If Louis Domingue goes to Carolina, he'll do okay. Like, you have to look at the same... Like, you look how he did in Tampa Bay. He did pretty good last year in Tampa Bay. This year started off poorly with New Jersey. Could he be traded to Carolina and kind of revitalize his season? I don't see why not.
Maybe if they don't want to pay the price for a Leonard in that.
I think so.
Yeah. Get the cheap goalie, then give Montreal Jake Bean in the first. I like that idea, Alex.
Never said